In the heart of the jungle, stone giants sleep beneath a blanket of green. For centuries, they waited in silence. But these pyramids hold secrets that would rewrite our understanding of human achievement. This is the story of the Maya. Not a lost civilization, but one of the most sophisticated societies ever to grace our planet. Masters of mathematics, readers of the stars, architects of time itself. In 1839, American explorer John Lloyd Stevens and British artist Frederick Catherwood hacked through the Central American jungle, following rumors of ancient cities. What they found defied belief. Massive pyramids, elaborate palaces, stone monuments covered in intricate writing. These weren't the primitive ruins Europeans expected. This was evidence of a civilization that rivaled ancient Rome and Egypt. When people hear Maya, they often think of one empire, like ancient Egypt. But the Maya were more like ancient Greece, dozens of independent city-states, sometimes allies, sometimes enemies, but sharing a common culture, language, and worldview. The Maya world stretched across what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. Over 3,000 years, they built more than 40 cities, some housing over 100,000 people. Let's step back in time. It's dawn in Tikal, the year 711 AD. The city is awakening. In the markets, merchants trade jade from the highlands, cacao from the lowlands, and obsidian blades sharper than steel. The air fills with the scent of corn tortillas cooking on clay griddles, a meal that sustained these people for millennia. Farmers tend fields of maize, beans, and squash. Artisans carve jade and paint pottery. Scribes, among the most honored members of society, record history in books made from tree bark. The Maya writing system is one of only 5 independently invented writing systems in human history. It's not just pictures, it's a fully functional writing system with over 800 glyphs that can represent both sounds and ideas. You could write anything in Maya hieroglyphics, from poetry to accounting records. But Tikal's true power resided at the top of these pyramids, in the palace of the Kuhul Ajau, the Divine Lord. Maya kings weren't just political rulers, they were intermediaries between the human world and the realm of the gods. Their blood was sacred, their words became reality. When we deciphered the glyphs, we discovered that Maya kings were obsessed with legitimacy and lineage. Every monument tells you who the king's parents were, who he defeated in battle when he performed rituals. These weren't anonymous builders, they wanted to be remembered. When Pakal the Great died in 683 AD after ruling Palenque for 68 years, he was buried in a pyramid with a jade mask covering his face, jade rings on every finger. His sarcophagus lid, weighing 5 tons, depicts his journey into the underworld. But Pakal's journey wasn't an end. The Maya believed in cycles, of time, of death and rebirth, of creation and destruction. And to understand these cycles, they looked up. On a clear night in the Maya world, the sky comes alive. The Milky Way, which the Maya called the World Tree, stretches across the heavens. Every star, every planet has meaning. The Maya didn't just observe the heavens, they calculated them with stunning precision. The Maya tracked Venus with such accuracy that their calculations were more precise than those of the 16th century Europeans. They knew the Venus cycle was 583.92 days. Modern astronomy puts it at 583.92 days. That's identical. They built observatories with windows specifically aligned to track Venus at its extreme positions. Venus wasn't just a planet to them, it was the war star. Kings timed their battles according to Venus's movements. To track this cosmic knowledge, the Maya developed the most sophisticated calendar system of the ancient world. Not one calendar, but multiple interlocking systems. The Solkin, a 260-day ritual calendar. The Harb, a 365-day solar calendar. Together, they created the calendar round, which repeated every 52 years. But the Maya thought bigger. The long count tracked time from the moment of creation, which the Maya calculated as August 11th, 3114 BC. This calendar could track millions of years into the past and future. We found inscriptions where Maya scribes calculated dates billions of years in the past, before the Earth even existed. They were doing math on a cosmic scale, contemplating deep time in ways that wouldn't appear in Western thought until the 19th century. And to perform these calculations, the Maya invented something revolutionary: the concept of zero. It seems simple to us now, but it's one of the greatest intellectual achievements in human history. The Maya invented zero independently around 350 AD, centuries before it appeared in India, nearly a millennium before it reached Europe. Using just 3 symbols, a dot for 1, a bar for 5, and a shell for 0, the Maya could calculate numbers in the millions. They used a base 20 system, and their 0 wasn't just a placeholder. It represented completion, wholeness. Without 0, you can't have advanced mathematics. You can't have calculus, physics, astronomy as we know it. The Maya had it 1,500 years ago, carving complex equations into stone. But Maya knowledge came at a price. To communicate with the gods, to keep the sun rising and the rain falling, blood had to flow. In darkened chambers atop these pyramids, Maya kings and queens performed bloodletting rituals. Using stingray spines or obsidian blades, they pierced their tongues, ears, or genitals, collecting the sacred fluid on bark paper. For us, this seems extreme, even barbaric. But for the Maya, blood was sacred. It contained the life force, the chulel. By offering their own blood, rulers were feeding the gods, maintaining cosmic order. Ancient carvings show Lady Zouk, wife of King Shield Jaguar, pulling a rope studded with thorns through her tongue. Her vision serpent rises from the blood-soaked paper, allowing her to communicate with ancestors. And then there was the ball game. In courts throughout the Maya world, teams competed in a ritual sport that could end in death. Players used their hips to keep a heavy rubber ball in play, trying to score through stone rings mounted high on the walls. But this wasn't just sport, it was cosmic battle, the struggle between day and night, life and death. The carvings show us that sometimes the losing captain, or possibly the winning captain, scholars debate this, was sacrificed, decapitated. But this wasn't murder in their worldview, it was transformation. The victim became a messenger to the gods. Sacrifice wasn't about cruelty, it was about maintaining the universe itself. Without these offerings, the Maya believed the sun might not rise, the crops might fail, the world could end. But the Maya world wasn't just temples and stargazing, it was also a world at war. Ancient murals give us the most detailed picture of Maya warfare. Armies in jaguar skins and feathered headdresses, captives being tortured, victorious kings standing on piles of defeated enemies. Maya warfare was highly ritualized but absolutely brutal. The goal wasn't to conquer territory or kill enemies on the battlefield. The goal was to capture high-ranking prisoners, especially rival kings, to sacrifice them later in public rituals. For centuries, the great cities competed for dominance. Tikal versus Calakmul, Palenque versus Tonina. Alliances shifted, wars raged. In 562 AD, Calakmul orchestrated what we call Star Wars, an attack on Tikal timed to Venus's appearance as the morning star. Tikal's king was captured and sacrificed. The city went into a 130-year decline. These wars weakened the Maya kingdoms, but war alone didn't bring down their civilization. Something far more devastating was coming. Between 800 and 900 AD, something catastrophic happened. One by one, the great Maya cities of the lowlands fell silent. Construction stopped. Monuments were left unfinished. Millions of people abandoned their cities and disappeared into the jungle. The classic Maya civilization collapsed. For over a century, scholars have debated what caused the collapse: warfare, overpopulation, environmental degradation, peasant revolt. The answer is probably all of the above, triggered by one critical factor: drought. Climate data from lake beds and cave formations tell us that between 800 and 1000 AD, the Maya world experienced the worst drought in 7,000 years. Not one drought, a series of them, lasting decades. The rains failed, reservoirs dried up, crops withered. In a society built on the king's ability to communicate with the rain god, drought was a crisis of faith as much as survival. When the rains didn't come, people began to question their rulers. If the king couldn't bring rain, was he really divine? The entire system depended on that belief. When it cracked, everything crumbled. The last monuments tell desperate stories: more sacrifices, more bloodletting, frantic appeals to the gods, and then silence. By 900 AD, cities that had thrived for 1,000 years stood empty. The jungle began to reclaim the pyramids, but this wasn't the end of the Maya. It was a transformation. The cities fell, but the Maya people survived. In the highlands, in the jungles, in the forests, Maya communities continued, and they still do. Today, over 7 million people speak Maya languages. In Guatemala, Mexico, Belize, and Honduras, Maya culture thrives, blending ancient traditions with modern life. My people never disappeared. That's a myth. We're still here, speaking our languages, practicing our ceremonies, honoring our ancestors. The ancient cities are empty, yes, but the culture lives in us. The ancient calendar still guides ceremonies. Traditional healers still use medicinal knowledge passed down for millennia. Weavers create textiles with patterns their ancestors wore. When archaeologists study the Maya, they're studying our ancestors, but sometimes they forget we're still here. We're not museum pieces. We're living people with a living culture that has adapted and survived for 3,000 years. And in recent years, technology has revealed secrets hidden for centuries. Using LiDAR, laser scanning technology that penetrates jungle canopy, archaeologists have discovered something stunning. What we found changed everything. We knew about the major temples and palaces, but underneath the jungle were entire cities we never imagined. Pyramids, highways, defensive walls, terraced farms, irrigation systems, all connected. The Maya population was likely 10 times larger than we thought. We're not talking about scattered city-states in the jungle. We're talking about a civilization that modified the entire landscape. Some areas had population densities comparable to modern China. New discoveries continue. In 2001, spectacular murals were found at San Bartolo in Guatemala, dating to 100 BC, the oldest Maya artwork ever found, showing the creation myth in vivid detail. Each dig, each translation, each LiDAR scan adds another piece to the puzzle. The Maya story is far from complete. So what can the Maya teach us today? The Maya collapse is a cautionary tale about environmental limits. They deforested their landscape, they exhausted their soils. When drought hit, they had no resilience, no backup. The system was too rigid to adapt. Climate change, environmental degradation, political instability, resource scarcity. The pressures that broke the classic Maya sound eerily familiar. The difference is we have warning. We can see it coming. The Maya had no climate science, no global communication, no ability to predict what was happening to them. We do. The question is whether we'll act on that knowledge. But the Maya also show us human possibility. With stone tools and human labor, they built some of humanity's greatest monuments. They developed sophisticated mathematics and astronomy without metal tools or the wheel. They created art of breathtaking beauty and writing of profound complexity. When I read Maya texts, I'm not just reading historical records. I'm reading poetry, philosophy, human voices reaching across 1,000 years. They were asking the same questions we ask. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens when we die? How do we live a meaningful life? Today, the pyramids still stand, monuments to human ambition and achievement. The jungle that once reclaimed them has been pushed back, but not defeated. It waits patiently, reminding us that nature always has the final word. But the story of the Maya isn't a story of the past. It's a living story, told in the voices of millions who carry this heritage forward. The cities may have fallen, but the wisdom remains. In the calendar that still tracks the seasons, in the corn that still feeds the people, in the languages still spoken, in the blood that still flows through the veins of their descendants. The Maya were the architects of time. They measured it, honored it, understood it better than almost any civilization in history. And perhaps that's their greatest lesson, that we are all architects of our own time. What we build, how we live, what we leave behind. These are our monuments. The stars the Maya watched still wheel overhead. The cycles they calculated still turn. And in the jungle, the stone giants keep their vigil, waiting to teach anyone willing to listen.